Hi everyone, it's Brooklyn and you're watching another Supernatural review, and this is season 6 episode 11, Appointment in Tomorrow. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. If you're new here, I do a recap and review of every single episode, so let's get into it. This is an episode I've always loved, like very good episode. Like there's just something intriguing about this episode where you just kind of remember it. It's like one of those episodes, I feel like there's a few I talk about where it kind of just sticks with you. And some of those like haven't been good actually. The ones that stick with you just because there's a reason. This is the one of the ones that are good, that kind of stick with you and you always remember. And I don't know, there's just something intriguing about it. So we've had a couple of bad episodes and I feel like we have a couple of bad episodes coming up. And it's something where I've been saying like a lot of these episodes are super serialized, there's just no plot line. And so this is technically an episodic episode. It's an episodic episode, but they did it right because technically like there is still, I would say, like a lot of serialization in this episode, but in the end it is episodic, and it's something where it isn't too much, or maybe because you're comparing it to a lot of the other episodes around it, it doesn't feel as much. But also like if you just watch this episode out of the blue, like you would like it. Like I've done that before. So I don't know how many times I watched it, but, and technically this episode wasn't centered around monsters, it wasn't centered around angels, it wasn't centered around demons, it was centered around death. And that is something that we were introduced to death last season. I really always loved death. And they brought in Death and a Reaper, and they brought in the Reaper we've seen before. Because, you know, sometimes they bring back characters in that way with like certain things, just, you know, to make sense for us, which sometimes I'm critical of, but like I guess it works here, but it also like some of the logistics also doesn't make sense, but whatever. So basically Dean decided to do this thing where he was dead so that he could talk to Death and try to get Sam's soul back. And it's like, did he really need to be dead to do that? And I guess that's like the rule book of getting to death. He heard it from someone, and it's something where I thought he was like dead most of this episode, but he's not dead. He's only dead at the beginning. But then Death kind of like leaves him with this challenge where you gotta wear my ring for a day and you have to kill people. Not like kill people, but like be Death. No, because in the way he is kind of killing people. He is. Wait, wow. And it's a very interesting concept, I should say. It's an interesting concept. It's a concept that you can't really see in like other shows, you know, or maybe that's like the overall series is someone becoming Death. I don't know, that could be a good show. You heard it here first, folks. But it is an interesting concept, and it's something where it's like, of course at the beginning it's some robber, or it's some guy who had a heart attack and he's like, okay, well this is it. And then of course it's gonna be like a little kid, and it kind of gets into the ethics. And so of course he's like, I want the kid to live. But then when you do that, it changes things and there's a chain reaction. And so then someone else who wasn't supposed to die died. And so he then had to go save someone else's life, and that with the ring, he took it off. And so it's something where, you know, he didn't win the challenge, but Death decided to do it anyway. He decided to give Sam's soul back, and it's something where I think, you know, the thing is, this is the 11th episode, and I kind of talked about how we've seen Soulless Sam for a long time, and I think they knew they had to bring Sam's soul back, and so they were coming up with like, it has to be something big, you know. They decided not to do the Crowley thing, they, you know, approached that, but I feel like Death is someone that, you know, someone brought up, and so they decided to do an episode about like not Death technically getting the soul of Sam, which could have been interesting, but I also feel like that would have been super serialized. I don't know how it would have worked, but this kind of concept of, you know, having an episode centered around Death, because we didn't really have an episode centered around Death in season 5, right? Really, like it was just more of the apocalypse and them getting his ring. I don't know, but it was good to have an episode centered around Death, and kind of, it's interesting that, you know, it made sense it was Dean, like it couldn't be Sam. Or maybe it's something, I don't know, you know, and if you had this idea in another season with Sam, like, I don't know if it would have worked. And sometimes they talk about it when they do certain things with the brothers, like one of them becomes a vampire, or like something, whatever, they go in a direction, whatever. Why did they do one brother versus the other brother? And sometimes I feel like they could have done either or maybe if it was a different season, like it could have been the other one. But I really feel like in what other season. Like, it really couldn't have been anyone else. I do feel like you could have done this with Dean maybe in later seasons. I feel like, I don't know if like in season 2 you could have done this with Dean, like I don't know, but I feel like it works and it makes sense, and especially because I've talked about how Dean has changed a lot, and so like I feel like this makes sense for who he is. He's kind of that dad aspect of him as well. He had a B plot with Sam and Bobby, and that's something where, you know, where it's so separate that Dean and Sam are so separate in an episode, you have to do something with the other one. So I had to do something with Sam, and in the way Dean's trying to get the Scylla back, and so then I think Sam is trying to get the Scylla back. I was a little bit confused with what Sam was trying to do, but I think he was trying to kill Bobby because something with like the blood of the father. And so in a way, like, I'm happy they did Bobby. I'm happy it wasn't Castiel or Crowley or some other character, and not just for like the killing the blood thing, but like as the other person to be in the B plot, because you couldn't just have it be just Sam. You needed a B plot here, obviously. Like, it wouldn't have worked if Sam was there in the A plot with Dean and Tessa. Like, it had to be Tessa, or it could have been, you know, it could have been another, you know, but like it didn't make sense. Sam was there, so Sam had to be over here. He had to be over here, and he had to be with someone, and so kind of Bobby makes sense. So it's the B plot obviously is as strong usually in shows. Obviously B plots aren't as strong, and especially in Supernatural, usually there's an A plot and then they have like a little dice of a B plot, because like it's so not the structure of like regular shows. Like, you know, I learned in my screenwriting class in college, like literally like shows will have like A, B, C, D plots, and Supernatural like has A and barely B. So sometimes when episodes have more of a B plot, it like feels a little bit weird. I feel like in later seasons we get even like C plots, and it's like, whoa. But overall, it is like a strong episode because of this concept, and because they like didn't keep the entire episode serialized, and it's just, I think, intriguing that Dean had to do this and this experience and death being there and all that stuff. So a very good episode. Will probably end up in the top 5, but I'm gonna end it here. If you don't like the episode, you know, comment below your thoughts. But, you know, hopefully you liked it, and so comment below your thoughts. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and bye.